The horizon glowed in shades of crimson and gold, tinged with smoke from the battles that had raged the past week. Commander Dax Hellstrand gripped the controls of the stealth cruiser tightly, his knuckles bone-white and rigid. In the distance, the roar of enemy jets broke the haunting silence between clouds, a reminder that his mission was set, but the odds were stacked against him. Dax was the best pilot in the Vanguard Air Fleet, a reputation forged through countless sorties and precision maneuvers that left enemies either baffled or broken. But this time, the stakes were personal. His squadron, his brothers and sisters in arms, was surrounded in hostile territory, their comms reduced to static, their coordinates scrambled amidst enemy interference. No reinforcements were coming. Command had deemed it a lost cause. But Dax wasn't flying for command. He was flying for the people who mattered most to him. And he wasn't just flying any plane. The stealth cruiser was his signature craft, a marvel of engineering with technology that bordered on the futuristic. Sleek midnight black fuselage, radar-absorbing surfaces, and an intelligence system that could outsmart most human co-pilots. Equipped with pulse-guided missile pods, advanced cloaking modules, and a retrieval grappling arm, the stealth cruiser was built as a weapon, a shadow, and a savior rolled into one. But even the cruiser's capabilities couldn't assure him victory in what lay ahead, a solo flight deep into enemy territory where an armada of hostile jets patrolled like sharks circling prey. Dax wasn't fazed. Fear to him was like turbulence. It existed but couldn't stop him from flying. The cockpit glowed faintly in electric blue as the cruiser's AI voice broke the tense silence. Commander Hellstrand, enemy radar detected 3 clicks south. Advise evasive action. The emotionless tone was familiar by now, almost comforting. Dax's lips curled into a grim smile. No time for evasive action, he muttered. Activate cloaking. Let's dance. With a soft hum, the cruiser's cloaking system engaged, rendering the jet invisible to all external sensors. From the outside, Dax was nothing but a whisper of wind, but stealth didn't equal safety. Enemies relied on old-fashioned instincts, too. He guided the cruiser deftly through the cloud cover, keeping his movements unpredictable. The enemy jets screeched in formation, a quartet of gray and yellow machines bristling with firepower. Dax studied their trajectory on his auxiliary monitor, identifying their weak points. They were flying tight, too close together. It wasn't an opening yet, but give Dax a few seconds and he'd make one. He switched weapons silently, pulse-guided missiles locked in. The cruiser's systems tingled with readiness, syncing seamlessly with Dax's every command. One shot, Dax whispered to the machine, as if it could hear his challenge. Let's make it smart. He fired, and the result was nothing short of art. The missile snaked through the sky like a serpent, curving just right to wedge itself directly between the enemy lead and its flank. The explosion ripped through the cohort like a thunderclap, and 2 jets spiraled out of control, their pilots ejecting into the sea below. But there was no time to celebrate precision. The remaining 2 jets peeled away sharply, regrouping as their systems locked onto him. One fired blindly at the cloaked cruiser, while the second began a sweep to flush him out. Clever, Dax thought, admiring their tactics. The enemy wasn't just reacting, they were searching, solving. That gave him less time to outmaneuver. The stealth cruiser's AI interrupted again. Detecting incoming projectile, 12 o'clock high. A streak of fire tore toward him. Dax rolled left, narrowly evading the missile as his jet sliced through the ocean of clouds. The cruiser's thrusters roared back to maximum burn, kicking him into high gear. He had moments, seconds maybe, to think of a counterattack. The puzzle presented itself clearly. React too predictably, and he'd be cornered. Engage head-on, and they'd outgun him. Instead, Dax did what he did best. He made himself forgettable. The cruiser dove, smooth, silent, minimal exhaust emissions. He let gravity guide him, the clouds sheltering his descent. Below the fighters, under their field of vision, he executed one of his signature moves, the Mirage Bounce. From their perspective, Dax was a flicker, a shadow fading in and out faster than their radars could register. The trick played into their impatience perfectly. The lead enemy overshot his last sweeping maneuver, giving Dax just enough room to rise like a ghost behind him. "Good night," Dax muttered, hitting his rapid pulse gun. The hostile jet erupted in silence, disintegrating into debris that rained down harmlessly into the unknown below. The final enemy panicked, veering hard left to avoid him, but not hard enough. Dax's targeting system locked instantly. One quick fire, and the sky was his. The stealth cruiser soared onward, unharmed but violating speed limits no sane pilot had ever attempted. Dax checked his navigation. The enemy jets were just an appetizer. His true mission lay 40 miles further into no man's land. There, his squadron, his friends, were still trapped, fighting for their lives, and their time was running out. The real puzzle began now. Pinpointing their exact location was tricky, with enemy jammers disrupting every signal. Dax's cruiser had an experimental feature called echolocate, a sound-based scanner designed to map out terrain and hidden signals using bursts of audio frequencies. It wasn't perfect, but Dax had no other option. He activated the system, sending directional pulses into the wind. The echolocation returned feedback instantly, peaks of sound that indicated nearby cliffs, hollow valleys that made for dangerous traps. But then, faintly in the distance, a ghost of active signals emerged, distressed Morse patterns, overlapping with interference. Dax's pulse quickened. His squadron was alive and calling for help. Navigating to their location was like solving a maze where each turn was guarded by predators. The signal led him closer to the heart of enemy territory, where anti-aircraft missiles were stationed on cliffside platforms. One wrong move, and he'd be toast. Dax reduced altitude, using the terrain for cover, letting rock and earth shield his jet from radar detection. Through carefully calculated bursts of stealth and speed, he closed the distance. As the cruiser emerged over the ridge, Dax saw them, his friends. Below, a jagged ravine stretched wide, cradling a battered fleet of friendly jets surrounded by enemy tanks and infantry units. His squadron looked as though they'd fought tooth and nail, and they were out of ammo, out of time. Damn it, Dax cursed, scanning the scene rapidly for options. The enemy firepower was overwhelming. Even with the cruiser's arsenal, taking them on directly would be suicide. This, however, wasn't new to him. Dax excelled when the odds were impossible. The puzzle of battle presented itself. He couldn't face them head-on. Instead, he had to outthink them. Please adapt this chapter as is. Triggering the cruiser's cloaking module, he ascended higher and released a batch of diversionary drone flares. The sparks lit up the enemy radars like Christmas lights, drawing immediate fire toward phantom targets. Meanwhile, Dax descended, a silent predator falling with purpose. Just before entering enemy range, Dax activated the retrieval grappling arm and aimed precisely. One swift maneuver later, the arm latched onto the friendliest jet in danger's path, Commander Mira Folks, his old wingmate. Gotcha! Dax grinned as the arm whisked her damaged jet upward and away from the fray. Mira's voice burst through comms. Hellstrand? Is that you? What kind of insane stunt are you pulling here? Insane? You're welcome, he shot back. We're getting you out. Hold tight. Dax didn't stop there. One by one, he orchestrated the rescue with precision, using the stealth cruiser's abilities to manage distractions while pulling stranded teammates from the battlefield. As the last friendly jet cleared the ravine, enemy fire intensified. The stealth cruiser rattled under pressure as missiles streaked toward him from every angle. Commander Hellstrand, the cruiser's AI warned, damage threshold approaching critical. Recommend immediate withdrawal. But Dax wasn't leaving, not yet. The enemy infantry had concentrated their fire on him now, leaving the ravine vulnerable. This was his window, and his gamble. With the push of a button, Dax unleashed the cruiser's final weapon, a sonic pulse blast designed to immobilize all hostile systems within 2 miles. The shockwave erupted outward, freezing enemy tanks and turrets in place, grounding their jets with a force even they couldn't counter. Silence followed, broken only by the steady hum of the cruiser's engine. Dax exhaled, his hands trembling slightly. His squadron's jets formed up behind him now, ready to break free from enemy territory. Please adapt this chapter as is. Hellstrand, Mira's voice came through again, softer this time. You saved us. We owe you everything. Dax smiled faintly, but his focus remained ahead. Don't owe me, he replied. We're a team. Let's get home. The stealth cruiser led the way, carving through the horizon. Behind him, his friends soared once again, their freedom secured, at least for now.